live, laugh.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Daniel.
And I'm Christian.
And I'm Rob Killjoy. Quack, quack.
You beat us to it. We are joined by the ugly duckling himself, Rob Killjoy.
That's me, the duck man, the million mallard man.
and like you're in a good spot where like that social media handle, not everyone gets to get the handle they want, and that is pretty on the nose.
Yeah, I'm Rob Killjoy.
I don't know any other Rob Killjoys or people that quack and do flips and stuff.
Yeah. Well, today we are here to announce that we are now going to be doing that. So,
all right.
Yeah,
quack, quack.
I've got to figure out the flip part. But I want to start off with the hard-hitting questions.
Live, laugh, quack, and Lariat. Now, today this is a pondcast, by the way. I just want you to know.
That is great.
That makes me so happy.
That is great. But I do want to give you a moment to prepare yourself because I do have the hard-hitting questions.
Some composure
okay.
Here.
Okay, I'm going to take a second. I'm going to center myself.
Okay.
All right.
So when I was doing my research, I stumbled upon Cage Match, which is a place that I use a lot of my research for. And you were the first person that I have seen that had a MySpace page linked to there.
Ha!
And it sucks that we have to do this, but for those who don't know what MySpace is, MySpace was the precursor to Facebook. And I think in a lot of ways it was better and more fun. But I have a two-part question for you.
R.I.P. Tom.
Yeah. If MySpace was around today,
top 8.
Who would be in your top? You could do top 8. That's a lot. For me, I would struggle to get a top 8 together.
No, I understand.
So what would your top 8 be today, and what would your profile song be?
Oh, man. My profile song, that's easy. I would just have it the Ugly Ducklings theme.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously.
Easy done.
Yeah, like say my top 8, like say well, I don't know, it'd be Colby. Obviously Colby, White Mike, Tim, formerly Timmy Lou. I still have a problem not calling him Timmy Lou. But Tim, White Mike, Colby. Obviously my fiance Taylor probably.
Yeah.
She comes fourth apparently. Now none of these are in order. They're just all coming to mind. There's top 4.
Okay.
And we'd go with Coach Mikey, Lance Lude whenever his Facebook account isn't deactivated, or it'd be MySpace, I guess.
Yeah.
So if he still had MySpace, sometimes he comes and goes from social media.
Yeah. Awesome.
So there's top 6, and we'll stop there.
Yeah.
So I don't hurt anyone's feelings.
Now you said there were no order, but you were so fast to say Colby. So I'm just throwing it out there. That sounds like the number 1. And you were very quick.
Well, I'm just saying, like, he's the first one that comes to mind. Like, say, whenever we're on social media,
Yeah.
So if I see something funny, they're the ones I send it to.
There you go.
So it's Colby, White Mike, Tim, Taylor, my fiance.
Yeah. So, awesome. Hopefully by the end of this, if there was a top 8, we will be in it. That is my goal.
Even if it's that 7-8 spot, like that's the goal.
If you're really
we'll see. We'll circle back at the end of it, and we'll
Awesome.
So when does this start, guys? How are we doing?
We're good. Yeah, you just made me look to make sure we were recording, but yeah, it has started. But so simple format for this podcast, and it kind of unrolls itself as we go because like there's so much to talk about with this. But
cool. So do I.
It's a wrestling podcast, and everybody has that origin story, that beginning point of wrestling that has led you to your, if Cage Match is to be correct, 18-year career. Could be longer.
Almost 19, but Cage Match is inaccurate just because I wrestle so many shows that they don't even count. Like I think, like not to disrespect Cage Match or anything. I appreciate what they do. I'm just saying that like for example, the other year they had like I had wrestled like I don't know something like 110 matches or something, but I actually wrestled like 150 something like that. Wow. I'm fudging the number. I'm fudging the numbers terribly, but I'm just saying like they have less than what's actually accounted for.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I just wrestle all over the place, like just stuff that they're not even aware of. I'm sure that nobody's even aware of besides people seeing it there.
Just you wrestling like some like
Absolutely.
pig in the woods, like
As a
Absolutely.
duck
Hey,
does.
if it pays there, then I'll be like I wrestled this past Tuesday at a fair in Tennessee, and I've got 5 more shows this week. I've got 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, a show Sunday.
you're working that comedian schedule, early
Yeah,
show.
that's what I do.
Yeah,
Nothing, you can say whatever, good, bad, or indifferent. I keep a heavy schedule. I stay booked up, and that's how I like it.
yeah.
There you go.
That's how we like it too. But to go back almost 19 years, and even before that, we won't age you here. But what is that first
It's
moment?
okay. I don't care. I've been pretty much the same since I was 17. So it's like I don't feel as old as I am, except my body hurts.
The wrestler's dilemma. So when is the first moment that you? Sorry, I just realized that was off. That's going to be bad. We have audio and video, so people in audio are often lost. But
Well, I mean, they've got to see this face. This is the moneymaker.
Yeah.
This is where they got to see it.
if you're
Definitely
listening
too.
to audio, specifically you, Mark James, it's time to open up your YouTube app, and it's time to watch this beautiful man's face.
Maybe just like listen and then like
Yeah,
do both. Both views might be cool.
watch it on mute.
Yeah.
Just
smart.
try to figure out what we're saying, like those lip sync videos. Just have the conversation for us.
Oh, there's no way you could ever guess what I would say. You could never tell.
Awesome.
So going back, like way back to your earliest memory of wrestling, what is that? What was that like? Just kind of talk us through that.
I don't necessarily have a specific memory of like say, oh, hey, I remember my grandpa sitting me down and I'm watching. No, it's just I just remember watching wrestling for as long as I can remember. I would go to when my dad would go to the video store. I would try to rent old WrestleManias or just whatever. I would just watch wrestling when it came on TV. I would get my bedtime extended so I could watch more wrestling. Like hey, Nitro's not over till 10 o'clock. Can I please stay up till 10 o'clock? Just dumb stuff like that. But my dad was never a big wrestling fan. He watched some, but once I was obsessed with it, pretty much as with everybody in my life, once I was obsessed with it, I kind of turn them off of wrestling, even if they kind of liked it, because I overdo it.
Yeah.
But I just watched wrestling as much as I could for as long as I can remember, and still I just like wrestling. Wrestling's cool, man. It's the coolest.
What first attracted you to wrestling? Is it like the in-ring stuff, the characters,
It's all of it. It's everything. Wrestling's everything.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a cop-out answer, but it's literally you can't define it in a sentence.
Yeah.
Wrestling is like it's good guys versus bad guys. It's ballet. It's art. It's it's action. It's violence.
Yeah.
It's storytelling. It's a soap opera. It's comedy. It's drama. It's literally everything.
It's life.
Yeah. Wrestling is life.
Yeah. So
again, it's like, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
please do.
Again, I also think that since I've watched it for as long as I can remember, it's kind of hard for me to verbalize and pick apart why I like it, just because I just always have. It's just something that I've been doing my whole life, so I don't even question it, or it's just the thing.
Yeah.
You don't
of course.
necessarily remember a time before it was your world, which I get that. Like that's very much probably very similar to a lot of people, at least for us, like since really getting into wrestling, like it's your world kind of revolves around it in a weird way, at least from a like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes on the weekend.
Well, I mean, but it also has to, if like say with my schedule, it has to, because like say if you want to actually wrestle and get good at it and get booked up, you have to be obsessed with it. You can't half-ass it.
No, of course not.
That's fair. That's abundantly fair.
Yeah. Who are some of the first wrestlers that you like really latched on to when you first started watching?
Well, I as much as I hate to say it now that he's a racist piece of shit, I was really into Hulk Hogan when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like I say, of course, but I like the Flintstones vitamins. That's the only vitamins I ever did. So, but I was just into Hulk Hogan. But then, like say, as I got older, it's like my favorite wrestlers now are Eddie Guerrero and Shawn Michaels. I love like Mike Quackenbush's stuff and just Lucha Libre and just all sorts of different styles. I like any kind of wrestling as long as it's done well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not one of those guys who've been doing it almost 20 years and like, oh no, wrestling's supposed to be this one way and cut and dry and has to be this. No, I think wrestling could be anything, as I said. So I want to feel that as long as it's done well, whether it's a comedy match, whether it's a death match, whether it's a lucha libre match, whether it's a Japan match where it's a lot of fighting spirit and fighting up, stuff like that. Yeah. Whether it's just very classic American style, whether you're green and you're just doing very basics, whatever, as long as it's done well, I like it. Yeah. I like wrestling.
Yeah, I think that's very well put.
It's kind of that thing that like wrestling is wrestling, but when wrestling is great, there's nothing better. Like when it all just clicks, it's like it's captivating in a way that like I only relate to like very well done theater or film. Yeah. It's art in its purest form when it's done well. It's
absolutely
you can't top it.
Kind of a weird question, but like as a fan watching,
it's a weird business, man.
Yeah. Has there ever been a moment like watching wrestling that it's like brought you to tears?
I wouldn't say brought me to tears, but I was thinking about this today. There's times that it's given me like goosebumps. And I mean, where I'm just like watching it, like the time I specifically thought of today was whenever Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan at the time, whenever he got cleared to compete again, were you guys a fan at that time?
Yeah,
like where he had been like injured and had to retire and stuff, but then he was cleared. And it was on an episode. It was an episode of SmackDown where he he was attacked by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and he just started like blowing a comeback on him. And I just remember I had like goosebumps. It was just cool. And I mean, that's not the only time, but that's the time that I was thinking about literally earlier today. Just unrelated. I don't know why it just popped into my head, but that's how my brain works.
Yeah, no, I think that's definitely the case. And I think like it's almost like a way that I'd like to describe it. And I say that I like to describe it, but it just pops into my head. So the way that I'm going to like to describe it moving forward is it's like combining your favorite sports team with like the action and story of a movie. Yeah. Like you have these people you're rooting for, but the stories are so much deeper. They're so much richer. And like we said, when it's done right, there's literally nothing better.
Oh, no, I absolutely understand. I mean, I can't relate to the sports thing because I hate sports. I just don't. I like disorganized sports like wrestling. By the way, I like that Firestar hoodie you're wearing.
Thank you. Yeah, Firestar is great.
Yeah, I can't see what shirt you're wearing, sir.
Oh, it's just a Hawaiian bit.
Move closer. But yes, so you're in love with wrestling. It's always a part of your life. Every time wrestling's on, you're there. You're getting your bedtime extended. At what point do you decide, or is this something that's always been in your mind that this is something that you want to do?
Oh, it's just always something I wanted to do. It was just I would get in trouble for my dad having friends over, and I'd be jumping off the side of the couch and drop kicking them in the back. Stuff like that. But hey, I'm just saying now I've got a pretty good springboard drop kick. So I mean, it paid off. That's all I'm saying.
So who's the real winner here?
Right. I mean, get over it, Dad. I don't remember who they were, so they're probably not around anymore. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm still here.
Yeah.
Drop kicking.
What moment did you decide that like you've known you wanted to do this forever, but now I'm going to do it? At what age were you when you kind of took those steps?
Oh, I was 13 when I started backyard wrestling. Okay. I believe I was 13. I believe I had turned 13. Yeah. Well, just because I had met some guys that they were wrestling fans too, and then eventually, we had watched the backyard wrestling tapes or whatever, just all sorts of stuff. But we were already backyard wrestling by that point. But I didn't know that was really a thing until that's just what I would always wrestle on the trampoline. Like as a kid, I would wrestle on the trampoline. I'd get anybody to try to get anybody to wrestle with me on the trampoline all the time. So, but and especially if I didn't have a trampoline, if I knew somebody with the trampoline, I was over there trying to get them to wrestle with me on the trampoline. But and I started backyard wrestling with those guys, and I just, we sucked. We were terrible, but I knew how to take moves and stuff just because I was obsessed with wrestling so much. Yeah. So whenever I got trained, it was just learning why and exactly how and learning more, but it's like I could take I understood how to bump. I understood how to, sell, even though my selling needed work. I wasn't plain faced and stuff,
Yeah.
Sorry, now I sound like I'm putting myself over. That's not. It's just I've been obsessed with wrestling, so a lot of it came natural to me.
Yeah, no, put yourself over all you want to.
But again, as a backyard wrestler, we sucked. We were terrible. I want to be clear, we were awful. But then I did that for a few years, and when I was 17, I got trained. I was still in high school.
What was your backyard wrestling character?
Okay. Well, the first one when I was 13, I don't know if I've ever said this on a podcast. So you guys are getting an exclusive scoop. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
I believe that my character's name was Brix, Brix. I don't know who came up with that, if it was me or if it was one of my friends. I really could not tell you. But we also did different characters. I don't remember what half of them were. Just like say, so we could have different matches. You know how stupid it works where there's only 4 of us or whatever.
Yeah.
A little cardboard belts, crap like that. And then I became Killjoy, and I was just Killjoy for like the last couple years. And then whenever I started wrestling, one of the guys who trained me, he had put my name on a poster as Rob Killjoy, and I hated it. I was like, no, nobody's gonna believe that's my name. That's so stupid. That doesn't sound real. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I just want to be Killjoy because that's better, right?
Yeah.
Because 17-year-old me, I'm real smart. But I mean, my real name is Rob, but it's just funny because so many people have asked me, "Is that your real name?" And it's like, no.
That's really cool that there's that connection. That there's that through line though. That like your entire like life in wrestling is rooted together. Like
yes, it's weird, right? Cool. I've been very lucky. Like I didn't have to like say break in as a referee or anything like that. I trained once and had my first match, and then I was just training and wrestling and also wrestling under a mask, and just so I was wrestling like twice and just getting experience, just training as much as I could. If they wanted to take a break during training, I was still running the ropes and practicing whatever we had learned. It was just me and like a friend or two, and like say our trainers. And one of my trainers passed away in December. So
that was Scrapyard, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Big loss to the wrestling community for sure. I think this would be a good time for those who don't know. Do you mind elaborating on your relationship with him and like? If you don't know what he did for the wrestling scene and the impact he had, just kind of share for those who don't know.
Okay.
If you want to.
Well, no. Like I will try to put it into words. Like I'm kind of on the spot, so please bear with me.
Yeah. Right.
Well, no apologies necessary. Well, Scrapyard. I remember whenever I first started training. This. So I'll tell. This will help explain it.
Okay.
When I first started training, like I trained once, and I'm sure you guys are going to ask me how I started wrestling and all that, and how I got trained and all that stuff. Correct?
Yeah.
I would assume. If you're asking me about backyard wrestling, I assume that's where we're moving into next. Well, I'll skip a little portion. I'll move ahead. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
But when I first started training, I didn't necessarily have a trainer. Like I trained once with some guys like at the CWF building, and then I had a match like say a few weeks later, and I had like got in the ring a little bit earlier that day, and but then I was just training wrestling. Well, we had a couple of different people training, and they were just some of them weren't good, and I'm not talking about at CWF. I'm talking about where I was actually getting trained. Just my first time in a ring was at CWF, but we. Eventually they had an actual trainer come in, and that was Scrappy. So then it wasn't just going to be kind of random people here and there. It was going to be, okay, it's going to be him. He's training you. And I remember the first day we met, we just got along well because he saw that I wanted it. And I remember we just kept giving each other back body drops because we both like taking back body drops. So just in training, we're just giving each other like 10, 12, 15 back body drops a piece, just fucking around,
Yeah.
And we just got along well, and he always looked after me and took care of me. And I was a broke 17-year-old kid. I never got an allowance and stuff like that. I didn't have a job when I was a teenager, so I didn't know how to go about making money. The very first time I got paid to wrestle was $20, and I was 6 months in. And I was like, oh, I got paid to wrestle.
Yeah.
But he bought me food. He rode me around with him. He taught me things, just innumerable things. But also, he was an excellent trainer. He was patient with me. Again, like say, he explained things to me. And again, I'm just a stupid 17-year-old kid. I'm still in high school, and he didn't have to treat me as well as he did. And we've maintained a relationship throughout the years. We would get each other booked on shows. He would get us booked where we were wrestling each other. He helped me out a lot, like putting me over to other people and helping me get bookings when I first started out. So I started wrestling more than once a month or so. Like he did. Without Scrapyard Dog, there is no Rob Killjoy, and it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But we've done an angle before where I turned on him. He's turned on me. He's beat me up when I was under the mask. He's beat me up as me. We've traded titles. We've just everything that you would want to do with your trainer, we got to do.
That's awesome.
And he gave back to the community a lot. Like say he did. I'm sure that I wasn't the only one he did that with, because I've heard stories from other people that I wasn't the only one he did that with. He was helpful. He gave guidance. He was just I hate that we lost him.
Yeah.
Like say he was a good person above all else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry for rambling. I really don't know how to put it into words or put a bow on that.
Yeah, that was perfectly said. And a lot of these interviews we found out, like people, especially like further, like you've got Firestar today where you go in, there's like this set curriculum, but there's like some people, their experiences, they get the shit beat out of them. People just want them to either give them their money or leave. So to hear like that, this like taking the time,
these great relationships can exist with the trainer, like that's really good.
Absolutely,
yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, above all else, like say we were friends, and at the end we were peers.
Yeah,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was my friend. He was my trainer. He was family to me.
Yeah, definitely a huge loss for the community. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
no problem.
Okay, so you're starting training. What is your character like? And we know it's Rob Killjoy, but like, what does your gear look like? What are you aspiring to be?
Oh man, if you got on my MySpace, you already know.
I tried. I don't think MySpace. Like I looked, and I don't think MySpace is updated. I think it's officially dead.
Well, my one of my friends with whom I backyard wrestled, he was going by Suicide Sean Mayhem, and we had trained together, and we were a team. We were called Method 187. It all sounds so stupid saying it out loud now, but we were dumb 17-year-old kids.
Yeah.
But we pretty much wore. I guess for lack of a better term, you would call it the Hardy Boys look, even though it wasn't quite that, but we had kind of the big jeans. We wore like band t-shirts, like, there was some fishnets sometimes, but we wore like these big trench coats, stuff like that. Like, but for lack of a better term, you could compare it to the Hardys, even though it wasn't exactly the same.
Hardy's inspired.
And that now I'm compared to if the Hardy Boys had a baby with the Bushwhackers, which I love. I think that's a great comparison that I heard one time. It's awesome.
Yeah. Now that you said that, yeah, that's definitely very apt. So you got the Hardy Boys look. Is the character and the attitude of the ring, even like the moveset, is that kind of based off that too, or is that different?
I mean, I still do some of the moves that I did then, like say, but no, I just did, like, I don't know. That's hard to explain. I didn't really think of a character. I'm just like, I'm a babyface or I'm a heel, you know, and I would like say have emotion and stuff, but I didn't think character. The character I have now, I lucky ducked into.
Yeah. So I guess we could kind of jump to that. How long into your career did the Ugly Ducklings start?
The first time Lance and I teamed was in December of 2015.
Okay.
And we had teamed, and it was just, we were a part of the juniors division at PWX.
Yeah.
So we were supposed to be representing the juniors division against the Revolt, Caleb Conley and Zane Riley, who I just wrestled again this past Sunday.
Yeah.
So the more things change, the more they stay the same, right?
Yeah, of course.
But Lance and I, we felt we had good chemistry and we kind of had fun. We were like, hey, maybe we should start teaming, blah, 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 blah. And then I just put it out on the internet and called us the Ugly Ducklings because I thought it was funny. I just thought like, oh, well, nobody's been called this, you know. and I just put it out there. And then I asked the announcers at the next show we were booked on, hey, could you call us the Ugly Ducklings? Nobody has okayed this. And I'm not sure if they did or not, but I guess some of the crowd followed me on social media and they were quacking at us during the match. And then I was kind of like, oh, because I was even thinking, oh, we'll just be ducks. I just thought it was funny because we look like this. So they call us the Ugly Ducklings. And then I was like, oh, we could just quack and be ducks. Oh, that's pretty easy. And then it just, because I was like, we fly around anyways and we look like this. So we'll just quack. And again, it was very lucky. It worked. It just worked at the time.
Yeah. So there was a big gap before that happened, before you started training. What was like your character, or just like what were you doing before that happened? Probably
I was just me. Like I would I wouldn't say that I had a character. If I was a babyface, I was an underdog, but I would just be a mean, nasty heel if I was a heel. And that's where I'm Rob Killjoy comes from, because I would work all these little shit shows to where the PA system wouldn't work, or the announcer's just terrible, or you can't understand them, or they'll do that weird thing to where they announce you 10 seconds before the music even starts playing.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like, well, everybody forgot my name by that point. So I'll just go out there and yell at them my name. So I just yell at them, I'm Rob Killjoy. And that's just used to be what it is. I would put my hands up in the air as high as I could, and I would tell JD Drake, the Steel Popson, that I would tell him I'm making myself as big as possible to ward off larger predators. Just dumb stuff like that. But I was just, but I wouldn't say that you could sum me up as a character. You know, it was just, I didn't have a character. I was a good little hand, you know?
Interesting. So during that time, what were your goals? Was it just like, I'm living my dream, I'm being a wrestler, or like what were you working towards?
No, I lived my dream my very first match. Everything else is a bonus. That's why I always hashtag don't forget to love wrestling. Because people get bitter, people get burnt out, and they just act like wrestling owes them something. And it's like, if I could still keep the schedule I do this far in, you know what I mean? Like, and still, at no point have I ever gotten burnt out. At no point have I ever considered quitting. At no point have I even wanted to take a break. Even during the pandemic, I was only off 6 weeks. Like the pandemic started, I was off 6 weeks, and I ended up finding a show deep in Tennessee about 6 hours from me that ran every Saturday. Okay, so I start getting booked there a little bit, cut them a deal on rate, but I could still wrestle. And then it's like, okay, then some other shows start picking up. Now I'm getting full weekends. You know what I mean? So I only stopped wrestling for 6 weeks, and that killed me.
So to go back,
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no problem. So to go back, you said you started living your dream the first time you stepped in a ring. Something that I always like to ask, because like with wrestling, you can be so close to something and yet you're so far away. Like you can sit on the front row, you can watch these people wrestle, but like to get in the ring, for me at least, like seems like it would be such a special thing, especially for somebody that's obsessed like as we are, as you were. So what was that first moment like when you're entering through the crowd, the first moment that you enter the ring? What was that like for you?
I got the pin in my very first match, and you could see the emotion come out of me, because I'm not a super emotional person. Like I could do it like in the ring and stuff, but but at that point I was like, that's the only time I've ever been happy in my life. Like, and you could just see it. You just see me like, you know, like I hit my finish on my friend who I trained with. It was like a 6-man tag or something. But it's like, I hit my finish clean on my friend who I had trained with. Like say, pinned him, and the crowd was with it. Oh, I'm wearing jean shorts and a t-shirt. It's awful.
That's awesome.
I watched that match a million times.
Is it still available? Is it on YouTube anywhere?
I don't think it's on YouTube anywhere, but it's still in my somewhere deep in my collection.
So there's a difference between watching wrestling and what you fall in love with it, and now you're a performer in wrestling. Was it kind of an added bonus on top, like the way that you can like control a crowd, the way that you can like you do something that makes other people feel something? Is that like an added bonus on top, or is that like a transfer of love for wrestling to where it begins as I love this, but now it's like
my love is contagious.
Yeah.
My enthusiasm is contagious is how I like to think of it. Like it's the crowd reaction is a necessary thing. But and this is funny because I just say this to pop myself. I heard this when George Carlin was older. I heard him tell this joke that he said, "The audience does not really factor into my decisions." Said that the way I see it is that you're here for me, I'm here for me, and nobody's here for you.
That's great.
And I don't feel that way about the audience, but I can't help but make the worst joke I could think of imaginable. Yeah. But the audience does factor into my decisions, but because they have to. But I wrestle at these no fans tapings whenever COVID was happening, and it wasn't a problem for me. People are like, "Oh, it's so weird wrestling without a crowd." I'm like, "Man, I wrestled plenty of shows where I expected the crowd to show up and nobody did." So at least we know what we're walking into, and I don't have to set up merch now. But I just feel that I would be wrestling whether the fans are there or not. I never give less than 110%, but the fans do factor into my decisions. So regardless of my joke, they are important. The audience is the most important character in the match. But like say, I just try to take them on a ride, but I don't want to be an inspiration or an influence to anybody like that. I'm just doing stupid stuff because I love to wrestle. So please don't, look up to me as a role model or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I could probably say this, like with everybody we've talked to, everybody loves wrestling, but like it's evident that like wrestling is your life. Like I don't think you could attest to this. I don't think we've had somebody that has been this passionate about wrestling on the podcast. So
because I feel like
sorry.
No, that's great.
Like passion isn't even the right word. Almost like that feels almost dismissive because like some people we talk to are so passionate about it, but this is just a different level. I really do appreciate you being so open.
Wrestling's cool. I mean, who gets to do what they have always wanted to do since they were a kid and get to make money doing it? People lose sight of that, man. It's like wrestling's cool. Why are you so upset about this? Nobody's forcing you to be here. That's one thing I can't stand is like these like some of the older vets, not all of them, but like a lot of the older bitter vets who are just like show up and pretty much steal money where it's like and bitching about being there. Okay, then don't be here. You don't need the money, then just don't be here. And somebody who is actually going to try will be there and take your spot. It's wild to me. It's like, man, I wish I got paid half as much as you to hate wrestling as much as you do.
This is a funny tangent to me, and I think you'll appreciate it.
Let's do it.
The first day of my job, I was super overwhelmed. So my boss sat me down and said, "Have you ever seen a duck swim?" And I said, "No, I've never seen a duck swim." It's like above the surface, cool and collected, below the water,
but underneath,
kicking like hell. And he pointed at me and said, "Be a duck." So and like that very much feels like what you've done too, because you just seem like chillest guy, but you've been working hard from the get-go.
I don't think I'm very chill at all, but I try to. I used to be a lot worse, but but now I always work hard. That's all I know. It's very strange. Like say whenever I'm like have an off day or something, it's odd, and I don't do weekends off. There's not a week that goes by that I don't wrestle at least once or twice.
Yeah.
Right.
Mostly at least twice, but half the time 4, 5, 6 times. But I work hard because my passion drives me, so I don't mind doing it. It's not, I don't mind driving 8, 10 hours if I have to. That's what I got to do. At the end of it, I get to wrestle. So that's what we got to do. It's not that big a deal. I'm capable of doing. Oh, that's crazy that you're going to drive all night back and just get to your next show just in time. Well, yeah, but I can make it in time. So what's the big deal?
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah, I can do it. So I'm going to. Oh, hey, I need to be first at this show and then late at that show. So I can do 2 shows tonight because I'm capable of doing it. So I would like to, please. I remember whenever I started wrestling and having to beg for bookings, getting to wrestle once a month, stuff like that. Like, nah, man, like I don't lose sight of that. Don't forget where you came from. I stay humble.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't remember the question, but hopefully there was something.
There was a question in there. But I do have a question. So if we can skip ahead a little bit in the Ugly Duckling journey, how does Colby get involved in that?
We're skipping a lot of history here.
No, hold on. No. You're not skipping at all because Lance and I, we teamed together the first time. It was December 2015. We were not booked on the January 2016 show. The February 2016 show, Lance and I teamed with Colby in a 6-man tag. So no, Colby's an OG Duck.
Okay.
So there's no skipping over any history at all to involve Colby.
Okay.
But I thought like Colby was young, but he was cool. Like saying he was down for whatever. He was fun to work with. And again, we all you can't teach chemistry.
Yeah.
And Lance, Colby, and I, we had great chemistry together, and we just had a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you clearly have the next step of questions ready to go, so waiting on you.
Yeah. No. Let's talk about Colby.
When does this thing start, anyways?
Colby is back and on a warpath right now, but I don't think people understand how good he is and how hard he's had to work to get where he's at. Colby's awesome. Yeah, he's Steve Carino's kid, but he's had to work his ass off to be here. He's underrated as far as in the ring character work. I don't know. I just feel like anytime to put over Colby Carino is a good time.
Oh, I'm not. Well, here, then I'll take over for you, man. I think Colby's great. Colby's dope. He's one of the best I've ever been in the ring with. We always kill it together. Say whether we're friend, foe, whichever. Whether we're on the same teaming sides, opposite teaming, whatever. Colby's awesome. He, like you said, he could do everything. He could do character work. He could wrestle. He could he could cut promos now. That used to be his weakness was promos, but now he gets his emotion out. Now he's got it. I think Colby has everything clicking right now. He's rocking on all cylinders.
Yeah, of course.
So Colby's great.
This whole time?
Oh yeah. That's what really put it over the top. He grew the mustache, and the mustache taught him how to work.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to quote. That's going to be the one clip we put out for you.
There you go. Please. Colby, this is me returning the favor and putting you over on this podcast.
So kind of jump around here a little bit. First, just a random question. What is a ducks, ladders, and chairs match?
Oh, well, it's like you've heard of tables, ladders, and chairs?
Yes.
It's like that, but with ducks instead of tables. And various other sundry duck items too. Say you can have we'll do let's go over some different duck gimmick matches, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got the DLC match, the ducks, ladders, and chairs. So sometimes we'll have a door or something with some ducks glued to it, or maybe something like that. We've got the duck house brawl, which we come in wearing our jeans with the knee pads on the outside. I got a bandana that Ricky Morton gave me that I wear around my leg for it. I will cut off one of Lance's small T-shirts. I wear that so I look real buff, real jacked and quacked. We'll tape up our fists and we'll go fight. And we'll have various duck items, inflatable ducks, or maybe some plastic bats with rubber ducks glued to them. You see the theme. You see where we're going with this. Yeah. We've got what's the other? We've got the I Quack match. We were going to have a duck collar match one time, but it got canceled due to COVID. We got the Ducks Rules match, which is just, when we don't want to make tags and we want the match to just be nonstop fireworks for 8 minutes. But, there's a few of them. I'm sure I'm probably overlooking, but we've got our own gimmick matches. Quite a few of them, actually.
Yeah. So this is a just a warning to all promoters out there. We need a duck collar match. And we need
there you go.
We need it tomorrow.
But you gotta pay for it though.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna cost you.
Who knew that when you chose that name, which sounds like very on the fly, you thought it was funny, that there's a whole market here now.
Like I said, I got lucky, man. It was just dumb luck. I'm very stupid. It's crazy. It worked out for us. It's made us money. It's wild. It's gotten us over. It's helped us. It's put me over the top. And that's the thing. had already wrestled so long and so often that, like, say, I kind of had the wrestling. I'm not saying I'm a good wrestler at all, but I wasn't a terrible wrestler.
Yeah.
And then the gimmick helped put it over the top.
Yeah. I'd say you're a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, promoters, you want to pay us for that duck collar match? Just a few ducats. We got bills. Duck bills. Get it?
This is my favorite.
Yeah. This is really great. So we're kind of hopping around now. So we're in a world where the ducks exist. The ducks are traveling. You were able to be a part of some of the early days of GCW. I think the first going back was 2017. How does GCW in 2017 compare to it? Let's say, like, you had a couple matches last year. What?
I mean, I think, like, say, I mean, besides like the what's the word I'm looking for? Not infamy or notoriety or anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, they're more well known now.
Yeah.
But it was still a raucous crowd and a dope promotion back then.
Yeah.
Like saying, we had a blast. We worked private party in a DLC match. They called it doors, ladders, and chairs. We called it ducks, ladders, and chairs. But the crowd was super with it. I thought it was fun. I don't see much of a difference besides just everybody knows GCW now.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
But again, it's not like I've been there since the beginning, so it's not like I've been backstage this whole time, and I can attest to that. That's just in my experience, my own personal experience.
Yeah. Yeah, we were at the show. You guys, let me look at the poster right here. Sanctified. I have the poster hanging up.
I see it.
You wrestled Dark Sheik and Alley Catch, right?
Yes.
That was a pretty cool match.
Thank you.
Yeah. GCW crowd is intense, a little scary.
It's weird because it's the same crowd that might be at a different North Carolina show. It's the same guys.
Well, but also it's like it was in Charlotte, and we've wrestled in that building quite a few times for PWX. We were their tag champs for like 2 years. Yeah. So I think like a lot of those people, they've seen me on the come up for years and years. So I think they were ready for us at that point. So I think they could have put us in a better place for it.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I think it kind of goes back to like your passion for it. Like the GCW fans are nothing if not passionate. Like when Nick Gage comes out of the curtains and everybody's around him, like going,
that's so cool. Yeah. It's so cool. Like, but just like when we do the quack circle, everybody quacks something. But I've been doing this long enough that I don't get nervous. I get nervous, but I don't get nervous if they don't respond immediately. I'm like, don't worry, I'll get them. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll get them.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to panic and start moving too fast or slipping or something, because I've also heard hey, if the crowd, you listen to the crowd and stuff, or hey, if the crowd's dead, go home. But I've also heard Dory Funk Jr. say, no, I'm telling them the story, not the other way around. So, I can see both perspectives. So I like to find a healthy medium.
Yeah. Who's to discredit Dory Funk Jr.?
Right. Oh, yeah. You want to tell him he's wrong?
Yeah.
I don't think he can anymore, but
yeah, this is something I always bring up anytime he comes up, but I was listening to an interview with Terry Funk, and he said that, and I think this kind of goes to the contrast between wrestling fans today and back in the day, he had an Iron Man match that lasts for 4 hours. And the only way that they were able to end it is them both getting arrested. Like,
brother, no, I can't do a job on TV. It'll affect my bookings in Japan.
But to translate that, have you ever had an Iron Man match?
No. There was talk of doing one, but that could also be a thing at some point, so I don't want to say too much about it.
Yeah.
But no, I would like to. I've gone over my time many times. No, not quite an Ironman match. And I don't think I've got the gas tank for a 4-hour Ironman match. And I don't want to get arrested. I'd like to try not to go to the clink, as they still call it, right? That's what the kids say, the clink.
Yes, I believe that's what they say on MySpace. So...
This is a circle. See, it's a callback. That's a callback, kids.
Yeah. So
comedy.
this is a freebie. I like to contribute. I have all of these ideas in my head, but I don't think it would be an Iron Man match. I think it would have to be an Iron Duck match.
Iron Duck match.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And we'll have to, and then we're gonna have to figure out like something with the clock to make it like duck-like or something. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll pontificate on it. Huh?
Yeah.
Like every time warning, it could just quack. Like typically quack. It like last 10 seconds, nothing but quacks.
We'll talk off air. I'll have my people call your people.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what my people are doing right now, but I'll see if they're available.
Yeah. My people are booked up pretty. People are booked just like you, so it might be a while.
Yeah.
So GCW was something I saw that was pretty cool. You also have had the opportunity to work at Evolve a few times. Can you walk us through how that came about and what was that like?
Sure. Well, I'd like to think. Her name's Gigi Dolan now. I know her as Priscilla. But yes, Gigi Dolan. She's the one. When Evolve did the joint show with PWX, they were doing in Charlotte on a Saturday, and then Sunday there was Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment in Atlanta, and GCW was also doing a show there after theirs. Now I was booked on we were booked on the PWX show, and we were booked on the AWE show. Excuse me. But whenever we had like say our match at the PWX show, and Gabe was there, and he liked it. But whenever he first got there, Priscilla had pulled him over to our merch table. We weren't there, but had pointed out our stuff and told him about the Ugly Ducklings and that he should take a look at us. So that was real cool of her. She didn't have to do that at all. And then we had a cool match that night, and he liked it. And then I remember it was late that night. Like I woke up to go pee or something. And I had a message from I don't know if they want me to name his name or not, but like say, but from someone, well, not Gabe, but is like someone under Gabe, asking if we were available to be in Atlanta. And I was like, hey, yeah, or if we could stay later. And I was like, yeah, we're going to be there anyways. Absolutely. So I was like, told, Lance, Mikey, I was like, hey dude, I think we're going to get on Evolve and stuff. And then sure enough, like we did the AWE show that day, and then we did the Evolve show that night. Like that was fun. That was real good. Like we did the it was a 3-way. It was against Jocka and Chris Dickinson and Anthony Henry and JD Drake. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And that was a wild match. It was a lot of fun. I think like it got us over. It got us a job at FIP for years to come.
Yeah. So you speak of JD Drake. I know you guys with like APW, you guys are close. You're with that whole deal, but what's it like to be hit by him in the chest?
If you ask him, he says I chop harder than he does.
Really?
But I disagree. I feel that I'm just more accurate than he is. So I hit you in the same spot over and over. So eventually it hurts more. But no, getting hit by JD Drake, I don't know, man. You try not to think about it, because then then it doesn't work out. You just gotta grin and bear it, kind of. It sucks, but I just try to make it just as shitty for him. So that's what you gotta do.
Yeah. I asked that anytime. I actually asked. We had Robert Martyr on, and he had his unique opportunity to wrestle Minoru Suzuki and JD Drake. And he says that JD Drake's chops are harder than Minoru Suzuki. So by definition, your chops are harder than Minoru Suzuki.
You heard it here, folks. Right here on the podcast. Live, laugh, quack, and lariat.
That's awesome. So you worked Evolve, if cage matches, to believe, twice.
Yeah.
What are some of you've had, like, literally you've been everywhere. You've done everything. What are some like moments that you've had in your career that you're like, this is fucking cool?
See, okay, so I'm a mark. So I just like wrestling.
Yeah.
But I like anytime, like I have that feeling a lot. Like say whenever we have that crowd, like going, like whenever you got the crowd like in the palm of your hand, like that's cool. Whatever it's like, oh, what we're doing is working. That's cool. Standing in the ring across from Steve Corino, that's cool. Standing in the ring across from Jay Lethal, that's cool. standing in the ring across from Cedric Alexander multiple times. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's stuff that I never thought I'd do. Making actual money doing this, something I never thought I'd do. That's wild. Like, if you have told me this whenever I started, I'm like, oh, I don't care about that. Just let me wrestle. And it's like, oh, no, but you're going to make money. Oh, that's hard to believe. Wild.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That
It's
really
like, so I just like wrestling. Being in the ring is my home.
Yeah.
You know?
That's pretty cool. I've realized that I've been talking a lot, and I do this a lot. So I
realize that I've been talking a lot, but that's also kind of the point of this, isn't it?
Yeah,
So yeah.
People are here
I
to
have
give.
been enjoying everything.
Well, I ramble a lot, so sometimes you have to cut me off. I apologize, especially talking about wrestling.
Yeah, so I'm going to give Christian the opportunity here to ask some questions.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got carried away. I
like get to bring us home?
Well,
Me?
Yeah.
With the questions? That's so
just
exciting.
roll some questions out, dude. What do you want to know?
Time to shine. What would...
All right, guys. Well, it's been real fun. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Hit me up.
Hit you with a few. Just off the top of your head, who are a few of your favorite opponents? Just cool matches you've had that you just thought like that was cool.
Man, like like I mentioned, like my favorite match ever is probably Jay Lethal, because that was just so cool. Like, and that he trusted me and that he loved it too, and I think that was awesome because that gives me validation, because I think I'm terrible, but I try real hard. We've had many of those types of matches with the Gymnasty Boys, the former Gymnasty Boys, you know, Tim and White Mike. Me and Colby and I, sorry everybody. Colby and I, we had an awesome match last year. I think it was September in Brooklyn, like right on the water view, like on the waterfront where you could see the Statue of Liberty and stuff. But it was like in this bar, like right there, and it was so cool, and the crowd was so with everything, and it was just, that was an awesome match, one of my favorite matches I've ever had. I also this was a really good match, and it's out on YouTube. You guys should definitely check it out. It's on something called Summer of Quack. It's a viral pro wrestling show, but on that show we had a triple threat match between Lance Lude, Colby Carino, and Rob Killjoy, with special guest referee Coach Mikey. And that's one of the most fun matches I've ever had. It's absolutely ridiculous. It tells a great story, but I mean, it's also good wrestling, but it's also just super fun.
You'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's a callback comedy. But no, you guys should definitely check it out. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And since you've done so much, is the goal for 2023, 2024 just to keep doing what you're doing, or is there a match that you're looking out for? Well,
I mean, I'm always looking out for the next match. I'm sorry, I cut off the end of your question. Please.
Oh no, you're good. That was basically the end of the question. I was just seeing if we're just staying the course or if there's a big dream in there.
Well, now, like, my dream is to stay the course. I'm just going to keep wrestling. My biggest match is always my next one. And I've got some things in the works, but, we'll see how they come out. Yeah. We'll see what happens. But like I say, obviously I'd love to get signed or something, but then it's like, then I'd feel real weird wrestling just a couple times here and there because I'm like, my schedule. But it's probably best for my body and for my mind and health. But also, I mean, do I look like the guy who's doing the best for all that? Yeah. Again, no role model, kids. Yeah. But I just want to keep wrestling, and if that, like say, gets me more eyes on me, more top indie names, more top indie bookings or whatever, or still wrestling at these birthday parties that I still do, because the kid requested me. You know what I'm saying? Like, say that's cool too. Like I just want to keep doing what you're doing, kids, kind of deal.
Yeah.
I was good. Keep on trucking. Keep on ducking.
Yeah. You called back that you wrestled the Gymnasty Boys a lot. And they kind of seem to be like, over the years, it's the constant, like the Ugly Ducklings versus Gymnasty Boys.
We were the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express. Exactly. I mean, some people have said that. I am those people, but
but it's been said.
Yeah. So
it's been said.
What is it like for you now to be in a tag team with White Mike, and you guys are kind of I would say like a perfect combination, like chocolate and peanut butter. And you guys are kind of making the towns now. What's it like working with somebody that you work so many times against?
Well, I mean, we know each other like the back of each other's hands, as the expression goes. Now, I've taught White Mike a lot, and I've learned a lot from him too. But I've known him for 16 years now, and like saying, I've just helped him grow. And I did for him what Scrappy did for me. I tried to get him booked. I brought him along with me, tried to teach him and tell him and impart whatever knowledge and wisdom I could on him.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. After 19 years, I've earned an opinion at least.
Yeah.
But it's interesting and it's fun because White Mike, like say, he's a character, and like saying White Mike can go too. A lot of people get lost in that they think he's just a funny guy. It's like, no, he's a funny guy, but White Mike can wrestle very well.
Yes.
And I mean, he loves wrestling like I do. He's obsessed with it like I am. So or maybe not quite like I do. I don't want to put him over me, of course.
Yeah.
But but it's definitely interesting. But fun fact, White Mike and I are the Catalyst Tag Team Champions in Brooklyn, New York right now. I was also held those titles with Tim. We were to Infinity and The Pond. And
great.
I have yet to hold those titles with Colby or Lance. So I've held the Catalyst Tag Team Championships with both of the Gymnasties before I've held them with any of the Ducks.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that was
trivia night.
A lot of times people say fun facts, not fun, but this was really a fun fact.
Snapple fact.
Yeah. And then this is my last question before I'm going to let Christian take it home. And we can edit this out if it's not common knowledge, but you're the big boss man when it comes down to APW Chester. Is that?
No, I book it.
Yeah.
And that's still goes through approval processes. People think it ain't my stuff. I'm just helping out.
But APW is like, first off, doing it every 2 weeks is like allows you guys to tell so many great stories, so many great matches, fucking awesome like I feel like nobody and I don't think you get a lot of credit for it, but nobody's doing it like APW Chester. Walk us through
everything feels earned.
Yeah.
Like they're even if you're just watching through social media, the Rise of Drew Hood is very cool. Just to pay attention to it go. As it goes.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are achieving what a lot of people wish they could do, which is telling long form stories on the indies.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that, guys. But Chester, it's a rare opportunity in that they run every 2 weeks. It's a play, and it's a place where people could come and try out stuff. It's a place where they could get characters over and really understand how to work. I'm very loosely structured there, and that, say, I'm not I give you your time, but I'm not super hard on time. So it's like, hey, if you're, this is, to me, it's a place where you learn to work. You go out there and you learn. Now, if you're out here and you're 2 years into the business and somebody's like, you got 6 minutes. If you're not out there in 6 minutes, we're ringing the bell on you. Then how are you supposed to learn and really feel the crowd and ride the wave when you're not, whenever you're just so worried about that 6 minutes? Oh man, I don't want to get fired. This is only one of 2 bookings I got this month. You know what I mean? That's a shitty feeling. So it's, I want to give somewhat creative control a little bit, say, so, hey, go have your match, do what you can. Hey, this is the direction I see. You know what I'm saying? Hey, here's some ideas. What do you guys think of this? Stuff like that. But it's, I try to be very, I don't want to say hands off because I am somewhat hands on, but I don't want to be very, I don't micromanage really. I want you to be able to go feel it and find stuff. And that's what it should be. And I feel that Chester has the benefit of, it's got its crowd, and it's a place that's not too big, not too small. And we've also had the benefit of, say, booking matches that nobody else really books. Like we've booked Mason Miles versus Anthony Henry there before. We've got Anthony Henry coming in the 28th. He's doing a seminar and the show for us.
Yeah.
So for everybody here, come check out APW Chester. They have a show tomorrow night, the 14th. Chester, South Carolina, 110 Helen Street. They're doing some good stuff. And then on the 28th, we've got Anthony Henry coming in. We've got some big stuff coming up. So you check out tomorrow and you'll know what we got planned for the 28th.
Yeah.
So, but everybody should check it out. It's every 2 weeks. It's consistent. It's consistent bookings. It's just something that you can depend on. It's an institution that's been running there for 16, 17 years now or so. The first time I ever wrestled in Chester, they were at a different building, but it was the same place, like the same promotion, and that was in 2006.
Yeah. We're definitely gonna have to make it down. It's a little bit of a drive for us, but
Where are you guys based out of?
Raleigh.
Oh, Raleigh.
Yeah.
But it's about 4-ish, maybe 3-4 hours for you guys.
Yeah, but like I see it like all the posters are really cool, which for me having ADHD, like
and that's a credit to producer Brad Wilson for that, by the way. He does awesome work.
Yeah, totally great stuff. But like the stories that you're telling, and like it definitely helps that you have guys like Rayhan and Tejas like doing their thing socially, and Drew Hood and TJ Boss.
And like you mentioned Drew Hood, you mentioned TJ Boss, you mentioned Rayhan and Tejas. They've all been able to grow there and really find their characters there. Like you mentioned the rise of Drew Hood. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of him for all he's accomplished. I think he's done a great job. And now he won the championship last show.
Yeah.
So I think say that he's like, you could say that we built him, but he built himself.
Yeah.
He came in, he added value. He showed us how much value. He demonstrated his value, the first D of the dentist system. He demonstrated his value, and then he engaged us physically.
Speaking of Drew Hood, and this is just a quick question.
I'm sorry, I know I totally interrupted you guys, by the way. I apologize.
People are here for us, so don't worry about it.
Can you confirm Drew Hood does or does not season his food?
Say that one more time.
Can you confirm if Drew Hood does or does not season his food?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Thank you for your time. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure he likes. I'm pretty sure he only likes barbecue sauce because ketchup is too spicy.
Heard on that.
Yeah, we kind of like to take this last part of the show, like, just want to say we could
moment of reflection.
Yeah. What is the question that we asked at the very beginning? Oh, have we made it into your top 8?
And since I only got up to 6 and there's still 2 spots left, they're yours, guys.
Oh man, we can retire.
Right, squeaked you in right by the skin of my tooth.
But we like to take the last part of the show. What I was saying before, I have ADHD, so
I understand. We've had 6 last parts of the show, so we got them.
But we could probably literally talk to you for hours. Like, we've barely scratched the surface. You have a 19-year career, and we've maybe talked about a fourth of it. But the last part of our show, we always like to look towards the future and kind of who are some people. And you have a very unique perspective with APW Chester, but that more people need to know about in the wrestling world.
Oh man, obviously, people know to keep their eyes on guys like Lucky Ali, Jay Malachi, Jackson Drake, obviously. But then there's known guys like Thomas Extreme, Buggy Wright. These are guys who are on the come up. And Thomas Extreme, he's been doing this a long time, and I mean, he's good. He's very good, and he goes under the radar. So people need to get eyes on Thomas Extreme. Absolutely. I know he kills the XWW a lot. They run out of Charlotte a lot, Waxhaw, different places. But yeah, those would be 2 guys that I would say maybe not a lot of people know. It's Thomas Extreme, Buggy Wright. A lot of fine young talent coming up. Elijah Proctor, of course. But my riding buddy, I don't think of him as young talent, but he is. Yeah. He deserves a break too. That's awesome. That Colby Carino kid, he's gonna be all right one day. He's gonna once he gets all the pieces together, he's gonna be just fine.
That's great. And want to give you the floor.
Oh man, cool. What is that cheat meal looking like? Like that ideal cheat meal?
Oh, do you guys think I diet?
I don't. That's the weird thing I've learned. Wrestlers don't really diet unless they do.
I should, but I hate it. hate dieting. So I was like, I don't. I force myself to work out. I just drink a lot of water and I wrestle a lot. I need to do better because I feel like look like a great big fat person or something. Like
yeah.
uh
What's like
sorry?
like a better way that we could say this in your instance. Let's say you're on death row. Sorry, I know we took a big leap.
He didn't want to go to the clink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Now I'm in the clink and I'm on death row.
I think you're innocent. I'll start by saying that. What is that?
Well, I appreciate it.
What is that last
I've been
meal?
proven guilty. My last meal, I don't know, man. Some sort of pizza. I really like pizza. Pizza's probably my favorite. I don't know. Like, I'll just go with a cookout order of like some chicken quesadillas and some Cajun fries, extra seasoning, and like a corn dog and like a half sweet tea, half lemonade, something like that. Maybe some sort of blueberry cheesecake milkshake or something. Let's just keep it easy. Let's go cook out something.
Yeah.
I love that a lot. And
I mean,
this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, I was very entertaining. You guys had a great time. You can't wait to have me back and do it again.
Yeah, you took the words right out of our mouth.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, it must have been while you were kissing me. That's what, meatloaf. All right, guys. Okay, well, I think that's enough for me. I apply my personality in a thick paste for long enough.
Yeah.
So
this has been great. Check out APW Chester. Throw a dart at a wall, and you're probably going to be wrestling there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Check me out on all my social media, Rob Killjoy, or at I'm Rob Killjoy on Twitter, and find me on Facebook. I don't know why I said all my social media. Both of my social medias. You could find the Ugly Ducklings, Three Mother Duckers on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that jive. And definitely check us out. Like I said, APW Chester, Action Packed Wrestling, Chester, South Carolina, 110 Helen Street, every 2 weeks, the 14th, the 28th, whatever the next 2 weeks after that are. I'm bad at dates. But and then come see me wrestle in a town near you. Look me up on YouTube. But my better stuff is on IWTV and TitleMatch.com. Yeah. So, I think I covered it all, guys. And don't forget to add me on Myspace.
Yes. We didn't talk about this, but make sure you visit your merch table, which
absolutely. We've got ducks for $1. We got ducks for $3. We got posters, pictures, duck calls, duck bracelets. We've got stuffed ducks, more ducks. We've got stickers. We got the best T-shirts in the business, best T-shirts in the game. And if you buy a T-shirt, the picture, knock a couple bucks off. We'll sign it for you and everything. Quack, quack. Just a few ducats.
This has been great. Yeah, your merch game is definitely there. We'll be at a show where like there's no room for merch, and you're there with merch. So
I will make room for my merch.
But this has been awesome. Thank you so much. We'd love to have you back on at some point to talk about.
Thank you guys for having me. Well, you have to now that I'm the third host of Live, Laugh, Quack, Lariat.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Quack, quack, quack.